Hello, my name is Chris Boyd, and I am director for White Work. I am also a registered dietitian of almost 20 years in both acute and long-term care healthcare settings. And so today I'm going to talk about one of the biggest topics that I get asked about the most, and that is about fasting. So the clinical definition of fasting is the restriction or elimination of nutrients for a specific time period. In the United States, we really focus on three different types of fasting, so I'm going to touch upon all three. The first is alternate day fasting, and so that literally is exactly what it means. One day of eating your regular eating pattern, and the very next day you're eating, or fasting I should say, for all 24 hours. And that you're allowed coffee with no sweetener, tea with no sweetener, or water. And again, that's for every other day on a consistent basis. That's probably the least most popular here in the United States. The second type is what is called modified fasting. And that's typically where what a lot of individuals will do is they'll have 5 days of their typical eating pattern, and then for 2 days they'll actually do a form of fasting that's actually caloric restriction. So what we mean by that is, in general, most individuals have approximately 2,000 calories per day. And what they'll actually do is restrict that amount of calories by 20 to 25% for those 2 days. And so again, they'll do that on a weekly basis, 5 days of a normal eating pattern and 2 days of that type of calorie restriction. The most common type, though, is time restriction fasting. And that's where every single day you're fasting from anywhere, or I should say, you're only eating from anywhere between 8 to 12 hours per day and fasting the regular portion of that time. During that time, you're getting all the calories that you need for that day, and again, nothing else outside of that except for, again, typically just water. That's probably the most popular type of fasting that we have in the United States right now. Again, before you start any of these type of diets, please make sure that you speak with your primary health provider to make sure it's something that is safe for you. So let's talk about some of the pros and the cons. So the pros are obviously a lot of people go on these for weight loss, and there are a lot of studies that suggest that there is positive weight loss options with some of these fasting type of diets. Again, also better blood sugar control. So again, because you are doing some type of caloric restriction, you're also typically also limiting the amount of sugars that you're taking in, which allows for better blood glucose control. And again, also with that, better blood pressure is typically seen because, again, during these, because you are calorically restricting, you're typically also reducing the amount of saturated fats that you're taking in as well. Let's talk about the cons, though. So especially initially, you're going to see some fatigue. You're going to potentially have dizziness and weakness. Obviously, low blood sugars, especially when you first start these type of diets, because again, you are doing some type of fasting. The other thing that a lot of people don't truly appreciate as well is muscle weakness. So again, those are side effects that also need to be discussed with your primary health provider as well. If you have any questions about this, please don't hesitate to reach out to Eric Mann.